All right, we are live on YouTube. Hi, everyone. It is Empress Lanice from the L Spot. We are back doing another interview. And tonight I have author Naiym Dingle, who also goes by Wolf. And he has this book called Cheating is Not Cheating. And I could not resist this offer of having this conversation to get familiar of what is it he's talking about as far as cheating is not cheating. But first, Naiym, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. I'm blessed to be here. Appreciate the opportunity as an honor. You know what I'm saying? I'm just feeling good. I'm in good spirits. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. All right. And where are you from?
Philadelphia.
Awesome. I'm from New York City.
Okay, dope. City girls. We're from the city.
Yes. So, tell me about this book. We're gonna go straight into it. Tell me about this book. What made you want to write this? This book.
Um, Honestly, so before we even get into the title, the book itself, you know what I mean, because it's much deeper than the title. It kind of stemmed from me kind of finding myself. I always was the guy that gave advice, you know what I mean, in relationships, marriages, breakups, pretty much because people see me as somebody that's easy to talk to, you know what I mean, somebody that can understand them and at the same time help them understand themselves. So I found myself having I seen that most relationships will end, you know what I mean, in regard to cheating. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I always see myself in open dialogue about it. You know what I mean? Even when I say cheating, it's not cheating, right? So I wanted to create a way to be able to touch as many people as possible, even if I can't physically be there or if I can't verbally have that conversation or that one-on-one with them. I wanted to be able to give them that insight and that advice that they would be able to get if they was able to get, a one-on-one from me.
Okay, so pretty much you had knowledge, information based on experiences, and you just want to share it to the masses. That's what you're
Yeah.
saying, right?
Yep.
Awesome. So why now writing, at least putting it out?
Uh, it kind of came. It was something that I had toyed with a few years ago. Like I wanted to write a relationship book. Initially, it was going to be called War on Love, but I couldn't get the content out. Like, it wasn't flowing. You know what I mean? Like naturally. So
Mhm.
I just left it alone. And then out of nowhere, I just felt myself inspired one day, and I began writing. I got an iBook. I'm sorry, like a laptop. I began no a MacBook. Sorry. I began writing on my MacBook in the notes, not even in like a Word doc or nothing. I would just like let my thoughts flow. And I had let a few people check it out, and it was like I'm interested in seeing what goes on next. And I would just like it felt like now. As far as in putting it out, I didn't want to put it out throughout this pandemic because I didn't know like how it was going to affect me being able to move around.
Mhm.
But then when I seen how quarantined we were, and I had the book done, I'm like, this might be a good time to capture people's attention because they are sitting still. Because I released it in April, which was at the height of quarantine. So
Right.
it was already done. You know what I mean? I was able to do it within the first month of quarantine, and the second month is when I put it out.
Awesome. So before we get into the book, because I have some questions about some of the chapter titles, because I did not get a chance. My intention was to read it before we had the interview, but I did not get a chance to do so. But
Right.
what has been some of the feedback that you received once you released this book? So it's been what, 3 months now, or 2 months?
Yeah, since April. Yeah, so the feedback that I've been receiving, it's been great. Like people tell me how much it's helped their life. It helped them to forgive their exes and move on, or helped them to understand their spouse. For women, help them understand their man. For men, help them understand their woman, and it helped them understand themselves and their role in each of these different from every standpoint. So the feedback has been great. Like I haven't received any feedback that hasn't been good. You know what I mean? People besides the title, which might spark some controversy or raise some eyebrows. Somebody might just be like, I'm not touching that. I'm not reading that. You saying cheating ain't cheating. You a dog. And I can live with that because most people don't read past the headline. So, that comes with the territory. But for the people that picked up the book, the feedback has been like to the point where it's like somebody, they see the book in the trajectory becoming, worldwide or, bestseller.
Right. So why do you think
Interview.
that
Come
people?
in. I'm
Why do
sorry.
you think that people say that you're a dog?
Yeah, I'm in an interview. I'm going to text you. Sorry.
Why do you think that people say that you are a dog because of the title of the book?
I mean, it's just people assume, you know what I mean, because that's just, that's the first impression. right? You know, like they like cheating is cheating. That's people's mindset. So when they see somebody say cheating is not cheating, the first thing that comes to their mind in most cases is he's about to justify, and I'm a man, you know what I mean? So he's about to justify why men cheat. So it don't matter if I'm really a dog or not. They just going to think that this content is for dogs. You know what I mean?
So are you justifying cheating for men, or is it from both perspectives?
It's for sure from both perspectives. And it's like, that's why it's like imperative that you read the book, because like it's so helpful for both. I can't even say it's more helpful for women than it is for men, because it's really helpful for both. Like it's like it really helps a man understand himself and his relationship. Because if a man could be better for himself, he can be better for his lady. If a woman can better understand her man, she can be better for him, and a relationship could be healthier. So it's like both. You know what I mean? It's not it's not the heights isn't raised for either party. You know what I mean? It helps both of them.
Okay, so I want to get into some of the chapter titles.
Okay.
And when I read the titles, just give me like a brief, description
Synopsis.
yeah, of what that is. So the one that struck my attention is, can a man commit capital behavior? What does that mean?
So basically, the analogy used in the book, you know what I mean? If you look at the chapter titles, I talk about manslaughter, I talk about capital. So of course it's in regards to, like, you know, the levels of murder, right? And I think that women often get, you know, punished, you know, more severely than men. You know what I'm saying? And in the book, I explain why, you know what I mean? And like the man's mindset and like the way a man thinks and why it's deemed a certain level to a higher extent than it is if a man, you know what I mean, was to commit, you know, what is to cheat at the same, you know what I mean, cheat. So can a man commit capital is basically saying, can a man do something when cheating that is looked at in the same light as when a woman cheats? You know what I'm saying? I explain how, like what that would look like. So a woman can decipher when a man is cheating at that level versus, you know, the other level of, you know, just manslaughter.
Okay, and so you did speak on briefly on about the woman committing manslaughter as well. So why did you create those analogies as far as I guess what would you call it, like I guess crimes?
Yeah.
Yeah, why did you choose to go that direction?
Because crime is universal, and at the same time, people are emotionally attached to it. You know what I mean? Whether we lost loved ones or in the crime shows or, you know, like just different, and maybe our family members in jail or maybe our family member was killed, it draws that emotion, you know what I mean, as does relationships. So I wanted to use an example that can trigger your emotions, but not from the same standpoint of what relationship does, because the logic sometimes the logic is the same, but people don't correlate the two. Like, you know, they don't correlate emotion for being emotion. They always like think that, you know, it looks different and identifies different. You know what I mean? So for me, I wanted to separate something, because I feel like cheating is the murderer of relationships. So I wanted to take people away from using a relationship example, because too many personal experiences might hinder your ability to see it from a hindsight. But with crime, you know, even if you're directly impacted, you can see it from hindsight. So that's why I decided to use that as an example. Both, and then it's no universal law for crime. It's levels. No universal law for cheating. It's levels.
Okay, so now another chapter is called Intent Changes Everything.
Yeah.
Explaining my point. So, um, just give me more details as far as what you think intent changes everything, as far as what that means.
I'll give you a brief example. If we in a party, right, and if the party is crowded, I bump into you, what's your reaction?
I'll be like, hey, you bumped into me.
You gonna think it was intentional?
No, it was like a mistake.
Okay, now we walking down the street and there's nobody on the street but me and you, and I bump into you. Are you gonna think it's intentional?
I do think it's intentional because you saw
So
me.
you think that your reaction would change?
You said, say that again.
Do you think your reaction would change? Would you agree?
It would change if I felt like it was intentional.
So
Yeah.
intent changes everything.
Okay, so how does it apply to relationships?
Because your intentions behind your actions, it determines the level in which it should be, you know, like viewed. You know what I mean? Like when I say intent, it's not to say that you unintentionally cheat. Like, no, it's saying like somebody cheating with the intent to move on from you should be looked at different than somebody that had a one night stand at a party. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Both cheated, but this person had intentions on getting married or like just leaving you. You know what I mean? This person got drunk, you know what I mean, and made a decision in the moment.
Okay. So
Still cheating.
like you said, those two are still cheating, but is one okay over the other? Is that what you're saying?
There's no page in this book that justifies cheating.
Okay. All right. So there's two that got my attention as well, two other ones. Stop ignoring the double standard, and his weak ego made him do it. Her strong pride couldn't let go.
Right.
Those
So
are deep, but go ahead and explain.
simply put, the first stop ignoring the double standard. We often try to emphasize the double standard that there is between men and women in certain things, like in regards to like cheating. But we don't. But we also neglect the fact that it's a double standard when it comes to providing, or the double standard when it comes to protecting, or outside of relationships, or gender. It's a double standard with murder in the military and murder on the street corner, drugs in a hospital and drugs in the street corner. We can't emphasize one double standard and ignore the many other ones. If I got on a white coat and I sell you some drugs, I'm a doctor. If I got on a black coat and I sell you some drugs, I'm a drug dealer. That's a double standard. You know what I mean? If drugs is illegal, it shouldn't be allowed to be practiced. So it's like, if we want one double standard to be emphasized, then they all should. But if we're going to ignore all of them, then we also got to ignore that one too, because it's just a part of life. They make up our stereotypes. They make up it makes up our whole society is made up on double standards. Like everything about it, from ethnicity to race to gender to age to everything to relationship status, everything is a double standard. You know what I mean? So like we can't ignore we can't ignore like them and then just try to focus on, oh, when men cheat, they this, and when women cheat, is that. You know what I mean? It's like, is it double standards or not?
Okay, so meaning that we have to be on one accord with everything.
100%. And I actually said that in the book. But good luck. We're gonna have a good luck trying to see that.
Of course. Now, what about his weak ego made him do it? Her strong pride couldn't let go.
Yeah, so basically it was going to be two different chapters, but because I referenced both in the chapter, I just consolidated it. So that chapter is relatively long, like, you know what I mean, it's long, but it's necessary. That chapter could have been its own book. I speak and I dissect the male ego, you know what I mean, and as well as in the female ego, and how they differentiate, and how women don't understand a man's ego or respect it in most cases because they don't have an ego. As where a man don't understand the pride that's in a woman, or even the emotional side of a woman, and they think that a woman should just suppress her emotions, but it's naturally in her nature. You know what I mean? So it's not to say, like, you'll hear a man say things about a woman and her emotions as if it's a negative thing. You'll hear a woman try to destroy a man's ego, but it's just like two things that's a part of each other's nature, and I dissect it in a way to where you understand your partner, so you won't ridicule them for being who they naturally are.
Okay, so you're saying that women don't have egos.
I can't. No, we all have egos. They just operate differently. Like y'all ego operate different than ours. Like men operate out of ego. Is in our nature. It just the strength of that man's ego is determined by the man and where he's at in his life. But every man has ego. Women have an ego too, but that's not the base of who they are. Like that's not their core foundation. And a woman whose ego is at the core of her foundation, you can see that. There's a difference in that, the way that woman carries herself.
Okay, so you're saying that because of a man's ego, and let's say if the woman was putting him down, or not necessarily putting him down, that let's say she's more successful in this season, like she's more successful, so his ego starts to get hurt because it's like, okay, she's doing all this great stuff and I'm still stuck where I'm at. So because of his ego feeling that way,
go ahead.
so because of his ego feeling that way, he chooses to, well, I'm going based on the book.
Yeah.
Cheat.
No, so they're not consolidated. So so a man, if he's gonna cheat, it's his decision to cheat. I always tell women often try to look inward, like, what did I do? Like what could I have done differently? And it's like, I'm making it clear, like, no, a man is going to do what a man wants to do. It's nothing you could do or don't do. But it's often because when women cheat, it's more so to fill a void or for lack, and they cheat with more logic than a man. They try to apply their logic of cheating to when a man cheat and try to figure out like what's the common denominator. And I say that is not. As far as in his ego and from a status standpoint of his woman making more, a man can be perfectly fine with his woman making more money than him if she allows him to still assume his role as the man. But if she makes him feel little, then yeah, she's killing his ego. He's not going to be okay with that. He's probably going to run.
Okay. So now about the second part, her strong pride couldn't let go. So what does that mean? She couldn't let go of what?
So this isn't even attached to cheating. This is literally just like comes down to like certain levels of accountability. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then just like, you know, just how natural is it for you to apologize? Like, just think about it. Like, in real life though, like, you know what I mean? And when we think about like I say, men don't mind. A man doesn't have pride when it comes to his woman. He'll kiss her ass. Like he'll kiss it, like without a doubt. But for a woman, you know, like trying to get her to do that is like, I don't
Is
see
that
it.
for all women or for most or some?
I just say by nature. I won't say all. I won't say most. I won't say some. I just say naturally, because it's just based on how you would like it's just based on what's instilled into them naturally. But some women, like, that's why I don't really focus on gender. Like I look at masculine and feminine. Like some women have certain traits of the masculine. Some men have certain traits of the feminine. It's just nature. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that we can guarantee that exists in the world is our natures.
Okay. Now you have should you forgive and how to forgive.
Right.
So should you forgive?
Most certainly. When I say should you forgive, it's not even it's a rhetorical question, and the question is basically saying like, in the event that you are cheated on, should you forgive? I dissect in ways which times you are more likely to forgive, and in other times when you're more likely not to. You know what I mean? How to forgive just teaches you how to forgive with life. Like, you know what I mean? It's beyond relationships at this point, because a lot of us are holding on to you know, things that have hurt us, and it's stopping our own growth at this point. So it's not even that like it's hurting the person or the thing or the situation, it's really hurting us. So the how to forgive is really walking you through the steps to forgiving so you can be better for yourself. Like, it's beyond anybody else. The should you forgive focuses on the aspect on if can your relationship survive whatever turmoil it went through.
Okay. Okay. And then now you give steps on how to forgive or
I break it down into 3 different parts, but it's not really like a how-to. You just gotta. It's one of the things where you just gotta tap in with it, and you'll get it, because it's not like step 1, step 2, step 3. But it's definitely a process. And the examples I use and just walking you through the process, you'll understand why it makes sense for you to forgive.
okay. Now, would you consider this book what is it called? A one fits all, or it's all depends on that individual?
So I think intentionally, I intended for it to be a one fits all, but I think depending on the state, the person then, when they're reading it, is going to determine how they interpret the content. So, like, somebody who's open minded will receive it the way it's intended. Somebody who may be, you know, dealing with like certain levels of like, you know, hurt still from whether male or female, they might not be able to be ready to have that honest conversation with themselves. Because if my book forces you to look inward, I don't allow people to point the blame. Like, we're going to isolate ourselves, and we're going to look in the mirror, and we're going to have a conversation with ourselves. And based on where we at the time of that conversation is going to determine if you feel like, stop yelling at me, why you so loud, or, you know, dang, I needed this because this is going to get me to the next point in my life and being healthy in my next relationship.
Okay. Now, when you were sharing that, I was thinking about should this be a book where couples who have gone through experiences should they read it together?
100%. I highly recommend it. But I tell men to buy their girl the book, and I encourage women to buy. I encourage it so much because it's even better if you're in a relationship, because you just want, now you feel like you get it. You feel like, I had so many people, even the people, one person that interviewed me yesterday, she had time to read it, and she was just like, it made her look at a situation completely different. So I'm watching people change their lives like right before my eyes after reading the book. And it's like, that was my intention, but to see it kind of come into fruition, it just like, it's more than gratifying. It's like, it's surreal, honestly.
Wow. And how old are you?
27.
27. Okay. So do you think your future self will look back at this book and say, you know what, I could change this around, or you know what, I might have been wrong, or maybe I could have done this a little differently? Do you think that can
Uh,
happen?
no, I'm gonna say why though. No, I'm gonna say why because no, I used to do YouTube videos a few years ago, right? I was 20, so 7 years ago, 2013, 14. I made a video about cheating,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally said the same thing, right? But a lot of I could see the immaturities in a lot of my theories back then.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I reflect on it, that was the time for me to look back and be like, okay, I would have did said that differently. But as of today, I feel like it's foolproof, and I would just build on my concept. You know what I mean? Because I do feel like, concepts are meant to be elevated. The phone was created into a better phone and it's going to continuously innovate and elevate. So with that being said, I know that the philosophies that I have are going to be built on top of. But I don't see myself looking at this book and saying like, oh, I should have said that differently. Because I spent too much time on it, really dissecting everything that could be asked, could be said, could be challenged. You know what I mean? And I just kept cross-examining myself, and I said, okay, I'm fully comfortable with this. I'm putting it out to the world, and I wanted to go national. I'm ready for whatever it sparks up.
Awesome. And congratulations on your book. I'll most definitely read it. Yeah, my intent was to read it before then, but just so much had happened this week. However, what do you see happening next for you?
Um, I'm following the trajectory of the book. I got some more titles that I'm working on. I'm building my brand up, and I just want to continue to grow within the development of this role of being a public figure, leading by example. And I just see myself like hitting like major stages. You know what I mean, with the same message and just trying to touch as many people as possible, even if I got to do it one by one. I just want to continue to touch people, with the book, with the words, inspire them to uplift them to be able to forgive and move forward, so we can actually be healed. My goal is to heal as many human beings as possible while I'm here.
Awesome. And would that be in relationships or in general? Like, what is your focus?
So I think that relationships is such a such a high aspect in our lives. I think that personal life affects everything. Relationship is such a part of our personal life. Whether you're having a problem with dating, whether you've been dating, whatever the case may be, I feel like that is a fundamental. If you can't even have a healthy life if that aspect of your life is like tarnished, if you're in one, you know what I mean? So I think that I do things that can inspire overall, but by me being able to heal people at the hearts, we can create some decent human beings. Because there's a lot of like inward hatred that's being imposed outwardly onto the world and being projected onto the world. If we can fix what's under the hood, then everybody will be good. So like it's for me, like I said, this is something I can leave behind forever. It's gonna live longer than me. Even if it's the only book I ever write, it's gonna heal somebody. So I just see myself continuously growing my platform, getting it out there and touching as many people as possible with it.
Absolutely. And that is truly amazing. And I love that you focus on inward, like just
Yeah.
focus on within yourself, because there are, most people do point the finger at the other person,
Yeah.
not look within themselves and saying, okay, what could I have done differently, or how am I showing up to everyone else, to
Right.
really get clear. Because once you get clear with yourself, then you're able to create or build long lasting relationships, because you
Yeah.
understand self, that where you can communicate that to others. So
Exactly.
I do think that is powerful that you have put it in this book. And when I saw the title, I did think, the normal thoughts, like what he talking about. Um, but I mean, I did skim through it, and I can see that you are, given different perspectives, in the sense of ways that people normally don't look at. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it, and I'll most definitely give you some feedback of, what I took from it. And once again, I want to say thank you for being here and just sharing your words. Writing a book is an amazing thing to do, because you are now an author of your life, and you created yourself as an authority in what it is, and it's in writing. Nobody can take that from you. That's your proof. That's your work. So congratulations on that. And this is your first book, right?
Yes. Yep. First book.
Congratulations. And I do encourage you to write many more.
Thank
Um,
you.
and yes, if is there anything else you want to share with my
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm sorry. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. I definitely want your review. Leave it on Amazon too, if you don't mind. My goal is to become a bestseller. You know what I mean? That's where I see for myself as well. For the viewers, if y'all looking to find me, I'm Wolf WSC on Instagram and Twitter. Naiym Wolf Dingle, as stated on the book, for Facebook. And just like, keep your eyes open, pay attention to me, follow the journey. You know what I mean? I encourage everybody to start the inner work so we can be better for the outer world. You know what I mean? And my slogan is the wolf has spoken. So, I leave it there. The wolf has spoken.
Awesome. Yes. And I did buy your book on Amazon. So I will leave a review there as well. And I'll make sure I'm following. I think I did, but I'll make sure that I am following you as well so that I can, keep in touch with all of what you have going on. So
Appreciate it.
everyone, thank you for being here. For the L Spot, it's Empress Lanice, and stay tuned. We will be back another time.
Have
Bye.
a good one.